Dennis Itumbi yesterday made an interesting tweet on his official Twitter handle. Now, this is what he posted on his Twitter handle. There is unverified information doing rounds that there is a plan to name a vice president. You know, in the constitution, Kenyan constitution, we no longer have a vice president. We only have a deputy president. He's continuing. Basically, a super caste based in State House, Kenya, with a title vice president. The move is allegedly being pulled by an executive order. The Hustler Nation Intelligence Bureau is in the process of verifying the information. This tweet by Dennis Itumbi, in my considered opinion, is not a small matter, especially if whatever is saying here is going to pass. And I want to ask you guys a very simple question, and probably I need your answer. Who do you think is leaking state secrets to Dennis Itumbi? Who do you think is leaking State House, Harambee House, even Uhuru Kenyatta's moves to Dennis Itumbi? Who do you think is that person? Because this is not the first time Dennis Itumbi is leaking such kind of information. We all remember that sometimes last year, President Uhuru Kenyatta tasked some cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, and chief administrative secretaries from the larger Mount Kenya region to start meeting and plan on how they can change the narrative, which was entrenching itself in the larger Mount Kenya region, that the president was not working. So this team embarked on a series of meetings, and they were meeting at Hotel Lamada. Dennis Itumbi then leaked the details about those meetings. At some point, he even alleged that there were plans, that this part of these meetings were plans to eliminate the Deputy President, William Ruto. Those were not small matters. But nobody took action on Dennis Itumbi because probably Dennis Itumbi threatened them that I'm going to release the video. And Kenyans are still waiting for that video up to now. You also remember there's a time Rafael Tuju and George Nyanja had a telephone conversation. And during their telephone talk, they talked a lot about the plans to block William Ruto. Again, it was leaked by Dennis Itumbi. Last year again, Dennis Itumbi leaked another meeting where the president met with Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Musalia Mudavadi. Who is leaking this information? And recently, I think 2 days ago, let me just put it this week, something very funny also happened. Karanja Kibicho, who is the permanent principal secretary for Interior, the boss there, met with Mount Kenya bloggers. Some of these people had been recruited from William Ruto's camp. Everybody who was attending that meeting was told to leave their phones outside. They were searched and then they entered. But Dennis Itumbi ended up leaking the details about that particular meeting. So the question is, who is leaking this information to Dennis Itumbi? Because whatever is leaking is actually proving to be credible. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the president of the Republic of Kenya. And so far, he's been unable to identify who is leaking this information to Dennis Itumbi. Let me just take you back a bit. In March last year, Dennis Itumbi was fired from State House. Remember, Dennis Itumbi was a part of a team which really helped President Uhuru Kenyatta win the presidency in 2013, especially in messaging together with others. So when the president became the president of the Republic of Kenya, Dennis Itumbi and that group were domiciled at State House. The president created a unit which he was calling the Presidential Strategic Communications Unit, or the President's Strategic Communications Unit. And Dennis Itumbi was made a director in that unit. Of course, even during that time, people were questioning his level of education, whether he was qualified to hold that high-level position within the government. But Dennis Itumbi was based at State House. Then, after the 2017 general election, and after the handshake, friction started manifesting itself between the president and the deputy president. So the first thing was the deputy president was locked out from State House. So he was not allowed to access State House. There was certain information which was not allowed to access. But the deputy president was still getting access to some of this information. The president and his team then believed that this Presidential Strategic Communications Unit was actually part of the team which were leaking some of the information to the deputy president, William Ruto. So the entire team was disbanded and sent home. And of course, the deputy president took them, all of them, and now they are working for him. The State House and the harambee house guys believed that by doing that, they were going to starve the deputy president of this information. The information then kept on flowing. Dennis Itumbi actually escalated his moves. He started getting more information of whatever was being planned at State House and at harambee house. Then, you also remember, if you are keen, two people, very close personal assistant to the president, were then removed and sidelined from State House because they were being accused of passing this information, of leaking this information. I know you are all aware that Jomo Geshaga and Jemuturi were actually removed from State House because there was the feeling that they were the people who were leaking some of the information. Because it was alleged that Jomo Geshaga, for example, was very close to the deputy president. So they were also removed. But despite that, Dennis Itumbi is still getting this information. The question is, who is leaking this information to Dennis Itumbi? In this video today, I want to give my 4 theories on the possible sources of Dennis Itumbi's leakages. But before we do that, if you're watching this video for the first time, please, I want you to take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. I'm going to be very brief because I have only 4 points. I want to try to be very brief. Number 1, I strongly believe that William Ruto has sympathizers around the president. These are the people leaking this information to Dennis Itumbi, or probably to William Ruto. And because Ruto can't disseminate some of this information, then he sends them over to Dennis Itumbi. I've always said on this platform that around President Uhuru Kenyatta, we have 4 camps. There's the camp which believes in Raila Odinga. There's the camp which believes in William Ruto. Then there's the camp which believes in a compromised candidate. And also there's the camp which believes in one of them becoming the next president of the Republic of Kenya. So we have those 4 camps around the president. But there's around President Uhuru Kenyatta, I'm 100% sure that despite the fact that the president is now done with his deputy, there are still some people around the president, either at harambee house or at State House or security or wherever, or even within the Kenyatta, or even within the president family, or even around Karanja Kibicho, some of his friends who are sympathetic to the deputy president. So occasionally they get to learn of these plans, or of course there are some of them are part of these plans. They pretend, but they're part of these plans. So whenever these plans are being made, then they end up relaying those information to Dennis Itumbi or to William Ruto, who then sends them over to Dennis Itumbi. So they are sympathizers of William Ruto around the president. So the president must figure out how he's going to deal with that. Because what Itumbi is doing is not something to be taken lightly. Number two, I think William Ruto intelligence network is deeply entrenched around President Uhuru Kenyatta. For a long time, people believed that Raila Odinga had a lot of intelligence. He could get every other thing which was happening within Jubilee government. William Ruto intelligence, in my considered opinion, has really penetrated around the president. So the president has intelligence briefing. The deputy president also has intelligence briefing. Then he has his intelligence people telling him whatever the president is doing, whatever Matiang'i is doing, whatever Karanja Kibichu is doing, whatever is happening. So basically, you know one thing for sure, is that with money and with influence, you can get whatever you want. William Ruto has the money, so which means he can easily spend that money on intelligence briefings. You also know that he had power. He was the vice president of the Republic of Kenya. He still is, by the way, the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. But in the first term, he was kind of the president. So during that time, probably, among the intelligence people, he promoted or hired some of his people who are working in the government or who are still working in the government. And these people are still briefing him on whatever is happening in the country. So I think the deputy president has invested heavily in his intelligence network. And let me tell you, there's nothing as important to a politician as investing in intelligence. Do you know why the deputy president has asked his people to start supporting BBI after opposing it for 3 years? Probably these guys have told him that the mood of the country has shifted. Maybe these guys have told him that the president is planning to use that BBI to finish him. So the best way is not in any way allow any contest between himself and the president, especially if he wants to guard the central Kenya region. So William Ruto, in my considered opinion, has an elaborate intelligence network within government, around President Uhuru Kenyatta, around Harambee House, everywhere. Number three, there's one thing which people don't understand, that in this country, we are a tribal country. Daniel Toroitich arap Moi ruled this country for 24 good years. Within those 24 good years, he relied on intelligence. And for you to have reliable intelligence, you need people who cannot betray you. So the former president, Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, employed so many Kalenjins in the police, in the military. Some of these guys are now very senior people in government, holding key to some information. And because blood is thicker than water, some of these guys are now seeing opportunity on William Ruto becoming the next president of the Republic of Kenya. And because they are Kalenjins, they must share some of these intelligence briefings with the deputy president, William Ruto. Nothing but that's the other possibility. And lastly, I am also convinced that probably around President Uhuru Kenyatta, there is serious infighting and sabotage. There's serious infighting and sabotage. Otherwise, the president has been subjected in this country to a lot of shame. You fired Dennis Itumbi as the source of the leakages, then these things still leak. You fire even Jomo Geshaga of all the people, you remove him from State House, these things are still there. Karanja Kibichu calls for a meeting and tells people to leave their phones outside there so that nobody records, and he then opens up his heart. Then, whatever he said there is recorded from the moment he stepped in till the moment he stepped out. So probably there's someone who is sabotaging Karanja Kibicho, or is sabotaging the people managing President Uhuru Kenyatta's security. They knew that, for example, Karanja Kibicho was going to that room. Probably they went there as they advanced him to organize the room, but ended up bugging the room. So basically to sabotage Kikazi. I don't know what you think. I'll be waiting for the next update, especially on this issue of vice president, whether it can be pulled. Let me hear your thoughts. Who do you think is leaking this information to Dennis Itumbi? Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.